Welcome to the channel, Infinite Exploit, where we learn and have fun. Let's get started and Brody, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Love you guys.
All right, so we're back. Let's open up our terminal again. All right, make it bigger. All right, so let's see where we're at. So what do we go back again? When we're at home, okay? Where we go back again? So can we go back again? No, this is called the root directory. This is the highest directory you can go in a Linux operating system. All right, so let's look at these folders we can go into. So we can go into bin folder that shows binaries, boot shows boot files, dev shows device files, exe is configuration files, home is where we're seeing our user. We can go to this right here as well. Just an image. These aren't folders. These are not folders. We can go to lib for our libraries and kernel modules. So yeah, and we can go to media. That's basically if we're mounting removable media like USB or CD. Mount is for mounting different file systems. Opt is for just add-on software packages. So if we download some software, we can save it in the opt folder. Proc is the processes folder there, and they're usually in text files. Root, that's our root folder, and that's our super user folder. Okay, that's the directory there. So if I wanted to go into root, it may say I can't get there, right? Because we don't have permission. So how do we get permission? Well, in Linux, we have a command called sudo, which super user do, and we'll type that in, and we can go put in our password. Well, I didn't specify change directory, so that's what I should have done. Now I can go. Now I can go there. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we got to run it in a privilege shell. So then we. Okay. So how can we switch to root? We can go sudo switch user, and it's gonna make us root. And you could tell that you're root because it's gonna have a hashtag pound symbol and it's gonna be red, right? So if I want to switch user again, I can change it back to infinite. I can do sudo switch user, and I can change back to that user. Okay. Now we're still in the root directory, but let me show you some things. If we go to Etsy, all of these are like configuration files. So if you want to change, like, let's say who has super user permissions, you want to change network settings, you want to change your host file, this is where you'll go. So this is a place where a lot of attackers would do enumeration because they're looking for users. So let me show you a command they may run. They might go cat Etsy pass, and that shows users on the machine. And we see our user here, right? So sometimes they may get hashes by going cat Etsy shadow, but you gotta be super user to do that. So if I do sudo, I put in the password, if I can get it right. All right, you see hashes, right? And these can be taken offline and cracked with different tools such as Hashcat or Join the Ripper, especially if it's a simple password. So you have in your user, you have a password list automatically pre-built. Let me tell you where the path is. This is the absolute path. You can go to user share, word list, and it's rock you. But I'll have to unzip this file, right? So let me take you to that folder so you can see it. And I'll unzip it, and I want to show you this. So we have other word lists as well. So John, these are like password lists with like millions of passwords. So that way when we're using tools that can crack passwords, they can go through them in minutes, if not seconds. So let's go ahead and gunzip. That's like unzipping this right here. Oh, this wants permission as well. Let's do that. Let's give it permission. All right. Now, if you have a really, really easy password, you can check and see if it's on this list by, we tagging cat with cat, right? And I want to introduce another command to you. It's the pipe. This is not necessarily a command, but we could take the input of this which will read all those millions of text to the screen, but we can redirect that. We can take that command and pipe it to another command to search for a keyword. So we can use grep. That's a command to search for keywords. So let's see how many times password is in this list. A lot, right? So it finds every iteration of password within that list. And you can do it with test. You can do it with pretty much any word you want to think you have. If you think you have a simple or a bad password, you can check and see if it's in this list. Now, we can look at what kind of system we're running with Uname. We're running Linux, of course. And we talked about creating files and adding to text files. And we can also create files with touch. We also can copy this. So for example, what if I want to copy rocky.txt? I want to put it in the home infinite and I want to put it on desktop. I copied it there, so it'll be on the desktop next time. I can also move files. Now, you can't really necessarily rename items or things like that, but you can actually move it, and that's the same as renaming it. So if we go home, just to show you that it's there, let's see here. Well, let's see, I'm here. Let me go back. See, I want to change directory. To desktop. And I see it's there. The rocky.txt file's there. But what if I want to name it something else? So I'll move it and I can call it rock, no rocky.txt. All right. And now it's the same file. And I can prove that to you by grepping password like we just did. And as you see, now I know we mentioned create files. So I can create another text file by doing touch and call it test. But it doesn't add anything to it. It's there, but if I cat it out, it's empty. So we can use echo to add text to it if we like, right? But that's all fine and dandy. But let's do this. Let's do ls.la. We see we have directory with D. So these like hidden directories in a sense. And we have the RW and X. What does this mean? It means we can read the file, we can write to the file, we can execute. So these are permissions. And who has these permissions? We do. Now, the user will be different depending on, if you have multiple users on your system. But these are things to check. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, you can always ask for help. But how would you do that? You just type help. No, you type H. Or you type man. Man. All right. So this is a manual that shows you exactly what commands do. Okay. So that way, if you're ever in doubt, right, you can pull up the manual. You can read the manual, man. Now, let me try something. Let's say we want to ls and we wanted to do help. Let's see, dash H. Okay. So that puts this in human readable format. So 134 megabytes. See, right here, you really just see a lot of numbers. You got to convert this on your own, right? But you can put it in human readable format. So let's clear the screen. Well, let me go ahead and remove test. I can keep Rocky there because we may demonstrate password cracking here shortly. But yeah, that's just a brief overview of Linux in a nutshell. Now, there's a lot more to it, like run jobs and things like that. I can go into SSH commands where you're trying to remotely access another server. Um, you can also create multiple files when you just add it. So if I want to do test2, test3, you can just do it like that, and you can see them all right there, and you can remove them all as well. I want to remove this one. I want to remove this one. And I want to remove that first one. And that'll be all gone. So It's very powerful. Linux is very useful. Another thing too, if you're new to Linux and you want to use the GUI, you have this nice little thing here that breaks down the steps that a threat actor may use to attack a target. So you might use an MAT scan to find hosts and services on the system. You might use a vulnerability scanner like Nmap as well. It has built-in capabilities. You can use Nikto scan for web server vulnerabilities. You can use Burp Suite to intercept requests, SQL map database information that you can possibly dump. WP scan can scan WordPress sites for vulnerabilities and plugins and users. It's very powerful. Password attacks, you can use John, Hydra, you can use Hashcat, you can use any of these tools. Wireless hacking, you can use the Aircrack Suite, Wi-Fi, Kismet, Reaver, reverse engineering. You can use these tools here. Exploitation, Metasploit, we'll go over that. You can use social engineering toolkit, sniffing, you can do man in the middle. You can use Wireshark to capture package. So many different tools. Forensics, you can use autopsy. And for reporting, you can use Cherry Tree. That's another notepad basically you can use there. But that's just a brief overview of Linux. There's a lot more to it. Definitely is a lot to it. But I would say get started, get your feet wet, go around the command line, just do some basic commands, and then you will be able to understand the functionality behind these commands, and then you can get more advanced over time. Until next time.